Hey, what's up guys? My name is Sam, and in today's video I'll be reading chapters 3 and 4 of the Goosebumps The Haunted Car. Before we get started, make sure you hit the subscribe button and drop a like on this video. Let's get started. Okay, we're gonna make this spooky by turning off the lights and having an LED light. Alright, chapter 3. Oh, a frightened moan escaped my throat. The car bounced hard. Dad cut the wheel. I fell against the door with a hard thud. I heard Todd whimpering in the back. The steering wheel bounced under Dad's hands as if it were about to fly off. I heard a loud roar, a car horn. We all screamed as a black van shot toward us from the wall of fog. Dad spun the wheel. The car shuddered as the van roared past. We rolled down the road. Faster, faster. The road dropped dangerously. Dad twisted the wheel one way, then another, struggling to see the curves through the heavy fog. We bounced hard. I cried out as my head bumped the ceiling. The seatbelt cut into my waist. "We're going to crash! We're going to crash!" Todd wheeled. Dad's legs shot up and down as he pumped the brake. No! The car slid. We went into a skid. Tires squealed. I heard a car horn. A gray car roared past us, was skidded off the road, toward a forest of dark trees. No! I saw Dad's right hand leave the bouncing steering wheel. He gripped the emergency brake and jerked it up, and rocked hard, forward then back. I shut my eyes and rocked hard, forward then back, as the car hit. I heard the crunch of the metal, the crackling sound, shattered glass. My head hit the dashboard, then I shot back up. I heard Todd utter a high squeak, then silence. I opened my eyes, blinked several times. It took me a while to realize the car had stopped. We had hit a tree, head on. The windshield had cracked. Beyond it, I saw the hood crushed and mangled. My heart raced into my chest. I could feel the blood pulsing at my temples. "Are we okay?" Dad's voice came up tiny, just above a whisper. Shaking his head as if to clear it, he turned back. "Todd?" "I'm okay, Dad," Todd replied softly. "Me too," I said, trying to swallow. My mouth was suddenly dry as sandpaper. I just fixed those brakes last week," Dad murmured. And then his expression changed. His eyes bulged. He tore off his seatbelt, shoved open the car door. "Dad?" I called. He lurched off the car, leaned over and started to puke. Loud, violent retching, his whole body heaving. I waited until he stopped. Then I called out, "Does this mean we're getting a new car?" I was already awake and dressed when the Sunday newspaper arrived the next morning. I lugged it inside and tossed aside all the sections until I found the car ads. Then I spread the section out on the living room floor and began circling the ads that looked good. When Dad finally came down for breakfast at 8:30, still in his pajamas, I was ready for him. "Check out this one," I said, shoving the paper in his face. He blinked and brushed a tangle of his dark hair from over his eye. Oop, hold on. Sorry about that, guys. "Mitchell, I'm still asleep." He groaned and rubbed his shoulder. "I'm a little sore from the accident, I guess. How about you?" "I'm fine. Check out this ad," I replied impatiently. "Can't I have the cup of coffee first?" He groaned. "I can't focus." "Really?" "Okay, Dad. I'll read it to you," I said. I read him the ad. One owner, new model sports sedan, perfect condition, V8, white leather interior, all safety features. Owner Marcel, name your own price. Dad squinted at me, rubbing his stubby face. Guys, oops, doesn't that sound like a really interesting car? If I was you, I'll probably convince my dad to buy that car. Dad squinted at me, rubbing his stubby face. "What was that last line?" "Name your own price," I repeated. That has to be a come on, he muttered. Can we go see it? I cried. There's a phone number and an address here. It's on Wilburn Street, in the valley, on the other side of town, Dad said. What are you two talking about? Mom appeared at the top of the stairs. She tied the belt on her robe. Mitchell, what are you doing up so early? Did you forget this is Sunday? Dad and I are going to go look at her car, I replied, grinning. Right, Dad? After breakfast, Dad and I started down the hill and toward the town. Todd wanted to come too, but he had his karate lessons on Sunday. Dad was driving a white Ford Taurus he rented after the accident. I kind of like this car, he said, smiling. Good family car. But Dad, I protested, the car we're going to see sounds so cool. The sun poked out between the white snakes of the clouds, sending streaks of light over the tall trees that lined the road. We made our way easily down the valley this time and drove through the town with only a few stops at the traffic lights. The town was near empty. Most of the stores are closed on Sunday morning. The only sign of life was a huge field behind the middle school where the soccer league games were underway, with hundreds of screaming kids, coaches, and parents. What was the address again? Dad asked, slowing to pass the three helmeted teenagers on bikes. I pulled the app from my pocket and read him the address again. It should be a few blocks from here, Dad said, turning onto a block of square, white, shingled houses. Now listen, Mitchell. I have to warn you. We're just going to look at this car. I'm not going to whip out my checkbook and buy it on the spot. You understand? Have you guys ever had that moment where like you really wanted something and your parents was like, we're just only going to look at it, but we're not going to buy it right now? Always be so mad about it. Oh, fine. Anyways. But what if he was great? I demanded. What if it's totally perfect? Listen to me, Dad said, slowing the car, squinting at the numbers on the mailboxes. Read my lips, Mitchell. We're not buying today. We're only looking. But if it's the most awesome car we've ever seen, I insisted. He didn't reply. He turned into a gravel driveway beside a small, square, white frame house. This is it, he murmured. The car must be in the garage in the back. A garage. Just smaller than the house, stood at the end of the driveway. We made our way to the front stoop. The door was open. Dad knocked on the glass storm door. I heard footsteps inside. A few seconds later, a tall, thin man wearing denim overalls and a red and black flannel shirt pushed open the storm door. He tilted his head and stared at us with tiny, round blue eyes. He reminded me of an eagle or maybe a buzzard, with intense eyes, a broad forehead, and a long, crooked beak of a nose over a tiny O of a mouth. He kept those bluebird eyes trained on us for the longest time. Dad finally broke the silence. Mr. Douglas, we called earlier, about the car. Mr. Douglas tilted his head the other way. He nodded and cleared his throat. It's around the back, in the garage. The aroma of frying bacon floated out from the house. I tried to see inside, but Mr. Douglas blocked the way. He stepped out onto the stoop and closed the storm door behind him. Nice morning, he muttered, scratching his head of stringy brown hair as he stepped past us and started toward the garage. Yes, after all the rain, Dad replied. This is Mitchell. He spotted your ad in the paper and Mr. Douglas stopped in the driveway and turned to me. Mitchell, you like cars? I nodded. Yes, I like sports cars and vintage cars. I build models, I said. He nodded. Well, I think you'll like this car a lot, Mitchell. We followed him along the driveway, our shoes crunching over the gravel. He stopped a few feet from the garage and began fumbling in his overall pockets. I let out a gasp and turned to Dad. The garage door, I murmured. Why is it covered with padlocks? A mysterious cliffhanger. But that's it for Chapter 3.